Okay, so basically at Walmart, these meals are about $2 a piece. I go to Walmart rather than going to Target because I've noticed at Target these things are more expensive. Now, they make different sizes of these meals. There are some meals that are, I consider the smallest, which is about $2. And that's what a frozen ziti with marinara sauce and mozzarella looks like. So it comes in a microwavable safe dish, and all you're supposed to do is basically peel back one side, and you're supposed to cook it for about 4 minutes. And then you stir it a little, and then you cook it for another 2 minutes. Most of you have already seen these things. Now, here's the thing. I'm not a doctor. I know a lot about science in general from, mostly reading and studying research and this, that, and other. But Medical 101 tells us that when everybody's pretty much taken a health class, and I hope most of you have passed it. But what we've learned is that if you take in more calories than you use through exercise or whatever your activity is, you're going to gain weight. Everybody knows that, right? Now, the thing about it is, I believe what's killing Americans and American kids is the portions, the sugar, and the salt. Not so much the fat. And, I'll try to explain why later. But the simple fact of the matter is, I've lived in other countries, China, Japan, where I've seen how these other people eat, and I've eaten like them. And I've noticed weight loss. I've also noticed changes in the way my body functioned and the way, I felt during the day. Because, if you eat a lot of sugar or salt, your mood is going to change. So anyway, basically, all of these meals typically max out at about 300 calories. Now, one of these pasta servings, which is roughly the same size as this one, the typical pasta serving is about 220 calories. It only has 4 grams of fat, 6 grams of fiber, because usually they're using whole wheat pasta typically in these things. And the whole wheat pasta that they do use doesn't really taste bad. And it has 8 grams of protein, which is most likely coming from whatever meat happens to be in these things. So you'll notice that the ones that have more meat usually have more protein. Like, for instance, this one has 15 grams of protein, most likely because it's got meatballs. So, most people, if you've ever tried one of those diets, like the Atkins diet or whatever, the Atkins diet takes you off pasta, bread, and rice because they don't want you eating any carbs and any sugar. So obviously you can't drink soda and you can't drink anything that's got sugar in it, right? So that's what the Atkins diet is. Anyone who's been a diabetic would know that when they are in the hospital usually puts them on a diet that's very, very low on carbohydrates. And they're usually allowed to have a maximum of 200 carbohydrates a day. They don't really bother you so much with the sodium in the diet. And the reason why is because a lot of diabetics who have diabetic problems, they end up losing a lot of the salts out of their body. And what happens is when they go into the hospital has to give them mega doses of IV with sodium in it in order to bring their electrolytes back to where they want them to be. So these things are very low in sugar. The sugar in these is coming from this pasta, obviously. So even if it's whole wheat pasta, you're going to have some sugar. You're not going to have as much as if it was regular pasta, but you're going to have some sugar. So, but the key point here is, for weight loss, let's say that you were somehow able to balance yourself every day. And let's say you were going to have these meals at $2 a piece and that you were going to use these meals to kickstart a diet program. Now, granted, these things are prepared food and you're really supposed to cook on your own, right? The thing about it is, let's say you work at a job and you've got a microwave, but you don't really have time to make your food every day. In fact, making your food every day would actually cost you more than these things that are already prepared, and these things are being sold for $2. At the most, they're being sold for $2.88 at like Target and other stores. But I only shop at Walmart because I'm interested in the rock bottom price. So in any event, take a look at any of them. The lasagna baked with meat sauce. These things are actually pretty good. And they taste pretty good. Now, these are all Weight Watchers. I'm not advertising for Weight Watchers. I like the Lean Cuisine ones, too. The Lean Cuisine ones, the Weight Watchers ones, and then the Healthy Choice meals, they're all equally good. In fact, you'd almost be fooled into thinking they were all the same thing, just boxed by different companies. But my simple premise in making this video, after I've seen the results that they've had with people in my family who've been eating them on my recommendation, especially after they came back from the doctor and the doctor had great news and was happy to reduce the amount of medicine that they were taking, since I don't know if the FDA is going to try to come after this video because I'm making a recommendation about what you should eat as far as a diet goes. My simple premise is this. If you were to balance yourself out and have 2 or 3 of these a day, 3 times 300 calories, and these, mind you, these aren't exactly 300, but if you had 3 of these a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they have a nice assortment of breakfast ones too, regardless which company you pick, but you'd come out to about 900 calories. Now, the average doctor is going to tell you, well, that's not enough. You're supposed to have like 1,000, or you're supposed to have like 1,500. If you're on a diet, you're supposed to have about 1,500. Some doctors, especially if you're very active, will tell you, oh, you're supposed to have like 2,000. If you're extremely active and you're trying to lose weight, then you're going to have problems gaining. Well, see, if you're extremely active, you're already losing weight, if you're extremely active. But depending upon what a calorie calculator might tell you, let's say you had to limit yourself to 1,500 calories a day. You'd be allowed to eat 4 of these if you wanted. You could have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and you could have a late night snack. But let's say that you were a person who could limit yourself to just 3 of these things a day. If you could limit yourself to 3 of these things, it would top out 900 calories. Let's say you stop drinking milk, and let's say that you drink just water, and you don't have to take vitamins because these things already have a lot of vitamins in them because they've got meat and they got pasta, they got rice. But let's say you also balance that out by eating vegetables. One of my favorite vegetables is cream spinach. Regular spinach I like too, but the thing about it is some people actually like this, but cream spinach, because it's a vegetable and because your body really doesn't process the fiber that much, and you're really only getting your calories from the butter and stuff. If this didn't have any artificial cream or anything in it, the calories from the spinach would be negligible. You could literally eat a table full of spinach and you wouldn't gain a pound because your body would basically shit it all out because you wouldn't even be able to process it. The only thing that you might want to worry about is the fact that these things have a lot of sodium in them in order to make it taste good. If you want regular spinach, you get regular spinach, or you could get regular broccoli or whatever. But if you're using a green vegetable to satisfy yourself, even, let's say you had 3 of these a day. Let's say you only had 3. You picked any 3. Let's say you had 3 of these, and then you were washing it down with vegetables. Let's say it wasn't a green giant cream spinach. Let's say it was like a broccoli or whatever, and it was regular broccoli that you were steaming yourself. You could eat as much broccoli as you want. The problem is you can't put salad dressing on it, because if you put salad dressing on it, you're adding sugar, you're adding fat, you're adding calories, right? So let's say that you balanced yourself out each day to 3 of these things, all the vegetables you wanted, and water, and you had tea when you wanted a taste in something, and you stopped drinking sugar. You would easily lose weight. The person who I'm talking about lost 16 pounds within the last 3 weeks. 16 pounds within the last 3 weeks, and they were using diabetic medication, and their medication got reduced from 5 injections a day to 2 injections a day. Now, the second person who I'm mentioning, that person came off insulin entirely. They were on insulin a total of 1.5 years, and once they lost the weight, they came off of it entirely. Now, most doctors will tell you if you get your weight under control, if you are taking insulin as a diabetic, you will be able to come off the medication. So it's a simple fact. Less calories means that you're going to lose weight if you consume less than you use. That's a simple fact. So I'm just making this video just to let you know that if you're looking for a diet solution that you feel that you can afford and you need to have something that's flexible for you at work, having a microwave and having these things is a good start to allow yourself to have quick meals when you want to consume a small amount of calories and you want to control your diet as much as you can. 300 calories for any of these meals is enough, I would say, for lunch or maybe even a dinner if you really want to get weight loss done fast. But this is what I recommend. Now, I'm not recommending, this per se just because of the sodium content, because this has like, 510 milligrams of sodium. This one has 550 milligrams of sodium. The thing about it is sodium isn't really a big problem because, Mayor Bloomberg tried to take our salt away. And then researchers came out showing us that you actually need a certain amount of salt just to keep your nerves working properly. But of course, he didn't say anything about it after, he left office because he just wants you to forget that he ever did what he did. But that's what happens when you let liberals run your government, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. So anyway, not to digress. I recommend you check these meals out. If you're a person and you got a few extra pounds and you're trying to lose some weight and you feel that you want to try like nice, interesting meals that they've prepared and everything, and you want to take that to work, keep it next to your microwave, keep it in your refrigerator, I recommend you try these. These things are $2 a piece. $2 a piece. These Green Giant vegetables can be purchased at Walmart for $1. At Tops, you're going to find them for $1.49. Now, some people will say, oh yeah, why do you shop at Walmart? Walmart's so... Listen, I like shopping at Walmart. If you got a problem with that, just don't even bother saying anything, because I like shopping at Walmart, okay? I just like Walmart. I don't like Target. The red bothers me. I like Walmart. The cool blueness is what I like. So anyway, that's just what it is. So I suggest you check these things out. Get to your local Walmart, or you can go to your local Target, whatever. They all sell these things. Check them out. $2 at Walmart, $2.88 at Target, whatever. Check them out. Try it. I guarantee you, if you can make yourself a diet on it, you definitely will lose weight. 2 examples of Healthy Choice Cafe steamers. If I'm not mistaken, I went to Walmart and I paid about $2, possibly $2.50 for them. Now, Healthy Choice, typically when they make these things, they try to reduce the amount of sodium that they use. But the simple fact is, these meals are all pretty much balanced out according with whatever FDA regulations and suggestions that the government currently has on, books. So every time that changes, they try to change these things a little bit more. They try to reportion it and whatnot. This is 250 calories right here. Personally, I think what they could have done was they could have put a little bit more food in there and they could have pushed it up to 300. But the problem is they're trying to get you knowledgeable about portion size, because these pans in there, it's a dual pan. Basically, you take it, you put it into the microwave, and it basically steams the food itself. So you don't actually need to rip the corners or anything. You just put it right into the microwave. This one's chicken and potatoes. Now, from what I've seen, the Healthy Choice ones taste pretty decent, but it's all based on, your personal desires. Barbecue steak with red potatoes. I haven't actually tasted this, but then again, this isn't actually for me. This is for someone else. I'm not as crazy about eating like steak as I am. I'm more into pasta. Like, you've seen my cooking videos and stuff. I like making pasta and I like baking and stuff. So anyway, this is 470 milligrams. And the sodium is usually just a preservative to make sure that these things can stay good on the shelves without going bad or anything. So mostly the sodium is there to protect you from the bacteria that could possibly build up in these things. Like, you wouldn't want some E. coli, some shit getting into your vegetables, wouldn't you? So 1 gram saturated fat. The fat content in these things is always really, really low. So while you are taking in a large amount of sodium, from what I remember, 1,000 grams of sodium a day is not necessarily dangerous. It's like you want to stay way below 1,500 milligrams of sodium a day, but 1,000 grams a day, like if you were eating 3 of these things, which you really shouldn't. You shouldn't eat this much sodium. The thing about it is, it's the calories which you're concerned about. And if you're on certain diets, it's the carbs you're concerned about. Like, if you're on Atkins, you're not going to find much carbohydrate in these things. This one, for instance, has 40 grams simply because most likely it has, it's got these potatoes in it. So that's why you're finding carbs in this. This one right here, steak with red potatoes, yeah, this one's going to have the exact same thing going on. So both of these have potatoes. So most likely the carbs are going to be about the same. And you're going to get most of your sugar and carbohydrates from these. Now, do you have to completely have no carbohydrates? Well, one of my family members, their diet called for them to have only 200 carbs a day. By eating these meals, they were actually coming in under 200 carbs a day. The only complaint that I ever got from my family member was the fact that she said that sometimes she'd go to bed and she'd feel hungry, to which point I replied, well, you can go ahead and have one of these meals at night if you really want it, because it's really not going to raise your blood sugar level, considering, what these things don't have in it. They don't have very much sugar. 18 grams of sugar for a meal is really not that much when you consider that the typical can of soda has about 23 grams or more of sugar. So the doctor was very impressed with them when they visited, today, and the doctor reduced their dosage of diabetic medicine. So the doctor did not have any problem with their blood pressure. So I really don't think the sodium is such a big deal. I think what really gets most Americans is the fact that when they're eating salty chips and they're eating salty popcorn, they're also drinking beer. And if it's not beer, they're drinking soda. And if it's not soda, they're drinking alcohol. Alcohol contains a large amount of sugar, and a lot of people are becoming diabetics because they're drinking so much alcohol, which is one of the reasons why I cut back, because I didn't want to take the risk of getting alcohol from, getting diabetes from drinking alcohol. So alcohol is high in sugar. It's also high in carbohydrates and whatever else you have chopped up in there or diced up in there, So that's basically my video, and those are my findings, which have been confirmed by medical doctors. So, I'm not with the FDA. I'm not like one of these licensed nutrition, I'm not one of these guys on television. I'm not like Kevin Trudeau telling you about natural cures. I'm telling you about $2 meals at Walmart that you can go buy and keep next to your desk at the office, that if you eat them regularly and you don't cheat on your diet that you're setting up for yourself, will help you lose weight. That's what I'm telling you about. So you can make a comment and reply and tell me what you think about this video, but I'm already seeing the results, and I'm seeing them in real life. So this is a relatively cheap diet that anybody can go on, especially if you can get to a store and go shopping. It's relatively cheap. I don't even think Jenny Craig costs you $2 a meal. I really don't think so. So it's up to you. And it's just an idea. So if anybody has comments, just let me know.